The back side of the stack is absolutely filthy. I'm going to take this apart and clean it. And it's hard to see, but I've got a new one of these lenses. So this lens, you know, it's probably certainly cleanable. And look, it's got just a massive amount of dirt in there. Of course I'll clean it, but I'll compare it with my new one and I'll decide, but probably throw the new one in there. That's why I bought it. But there's nothing wrong with this one. It's not cracked. It's not overly hazed. All good stuff to keep in the Corvette box. Okay, it's clean, but yeah, it's, you know, it's used. It's 58 years old. It does have the original part number. You can read that upside down and backwards. Everything's scrubbed up, right down to the two idiot lights that it has. One for seat belts, one for door jar. Low fuel, never seen that one, because that one doesn't work. There's no such thing in a 68 Corvette. See that? There's even a delete. There's just one window on each side. Interesting that it says, say, low fuel. It must be a 69 feature. Or 70. Who knows? Either way, the 6480851 is now clean. And everything is scrubbed. And we're putting it back together. Everything's nice and clean, but oh, I've got issues. I do have my new lens right here, which I will use. Now, this little isolator, remember when I took the thing apart, it was on this side of the water temperature gauge. There was only one, and I remember that when I look at the video especially, I can see that it was in a certain spot, and I believe it was underneath that, on that side. So there's certainly a lot of details going on here. Since I took it all apart at once, I made it really hard for myself, and I probably have to look at my video again. Sure, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. You can put them all together. They only go in the back of this thing one way. But there's another discrepancy here, and that's the depth. Now here's the factory depth, just to the top where the stud is like 2.5 centimeters. And then when you go to this one, it's got that brown backing plate on the back of the studs with nuts on it. It goes to just over 3 centimeters. Now this is going to create a difference in spacing, and so when it all goes together, it's not going to fit right unless I take these off. But notice at the base of this stud here, there's an isolation of plastic between the stud and the metal backing. Now we're going to have to take this off, see what kind of isolation I've got under there, or I might have to get some kind of composite flat washers, something to isolate this from its mounting. Because when it mounts inside of here, this is going to be a factor. It's going to change the way everything fits. And furthermore, just while we're looking at this, this this is up, right? But look at this puddle of rust. There was a water puddle in here. This gauge, at some point in its life, in its 58 years, sat like this, upside down, got water in it and collected and stayed there long enough to make a rust puddle trace. So, you know, folks, you just never know what you're going to get when you buy an auction car. So let me work on this. It's not going to be difficult. It's just the technicality of all this. And this is definitely going to change how things go together, because I've got the fuel and water temperature. They all have this same piece on here. Of course, there's no directions. This kind of a kit. So I'm going to have to sort it out. Sorting 1, 2, 3. Well, I took it off. These studs are longer than these, but they're virtually the same otherwise. They do have good isolationistic plastic. So I'm just going to try to install as stock, and these little guys are 8mm. 1/4 inch will not fit. All this stuff was 5/16. So I'm going to ditch these, and I'm going to install as if they are exactly the same. And if it isn't right, we'll have to fix it. This is my brand new lens. Now, I've carefully cleaned it with a brand new microfiber. As you can see, it's got lots of minute scratches, almost as if it was returned and then resold to me. Either way, this is the old one, and it's better than the old one. And that came from this Corvette place right here. Full throttle Corvette. I would say they sold me an almost new part. Regardless of that fact, let's go ahead and use it. So we'll take out this original part, and while I was doing the cleaning, these little rubber logs fell out of there, and they go right back in here to help buffer the plastic. So I'm just gonna help them stay in here by putting a little bit of clear RTV sealant in the 5 little spots without making a big mess, because I'm really good at making a big mess. This will definitely help to not forget these. It would suck to get it all put together and realize that I had forgotten them. Right. Now the glue's not necessary. But if I, in 5 minutes, have to take this thing apart, I'll be very happy that I put it in. Now what I'm going to do is I'm searching for the flat side, because they sat in there for 58 years. On what I assume would be the flat side. And you can kind of feel it with your fingers. And we're just going to hope for the best, because it's irrelevant. as long as they're in there. Pretty much have 2 flat sides. Only want to sit in there on a flat side anyway. Good. Now, I'll take my semi-used part from fullthrottlecorvette.com. We'll put it right in here. And we'll just hope that it fits perfectly. It seems to fit pretty good. Yeah, I wanted it, it needs to be clearer than that. And it's not. F them. That's all I got to say about that. Now, my next step is these little doodads here. Let's just see how they fit. Okay, nice and snug. Okay, perfect. Should I turn this a little? Oh boy, that's so much nicer. Okay, there's this one. These only go in one way. All right, that's nice. Now when this is all back together correctly, this is just going to slip right back on here like that. Okay. Now if I felt like it, I could have tried to put those things on here without it being correct space-wise. See if there was room, but you know, I'm not in the mood for that. So we're gonna go ahead and okay, I think this next piece, here's the other side of it. It got pretty clean. It's gonna go right like this. And I remember it kind of slipped over these plastic things when I was taking it out. But now I'm thinking I'm gonna have to just quickly pop these out. Set this baby on in here where it belongs. There. That was easy. In case you're wondering, you know, I've never taken one of these apart or put one back together. But I do know the inside of the glass, or the plastic I might say, is most important. Once you put stuff together, whatever's in there is going to be in there. I'm really not happy with the cleanliness, but I'm not going to fuss. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start with the number 4 studs on this thing. And if you remember, so this is right side up but backwards, but this writing is upside down. Just fine, because when it was in the car, he probably tipped it down and was sitting in the driver's seat and wrote on these things. He or she, whoever it was. Let's go ahead and start with the water temperature. I believe it's going to go in just like this. 1. I'm going to turn it over. And if you remember, it needs to go like this. Start with this one Then it was this, because that little tang locks in that hole. And then it was this. And it went on like so. Okay. Now, this piece, I believe, can go on. It goes right over the top of that. And everything gets a washer. Wait, not yet. So let's go, these two get washers. Then this piece goes on here, and you can even see the rusty outline of it. It gets a washer. This one, I got a bunch of washers under here and nuts like that. A couple more washers, or at least one. All right, and now I think we're ready to bolt it down. Now the true test will be at the end. Okay, so do this as well. Put the shiny side down, because that was the way it was. Although I didn't get into cleaning the metal connectors, because I figured they're clean enough. You know, I don't want to go OCD on this thing. I don't want it to be apart for days. I don't want these parts to sit in the box forever, so it's important to take these things apart and put them back together ASAP, like all in the same motion. Otherwise it is easy to forget how these things go. Thankfully I did have the video. It's like I've cheated in some way. Alright, I'm not going to get it super tight just yet, but this should be correct. Okay, that was 4. Let's go 3 now with the fuel. We can turn this over so you can see it. Would love to see a correct water pressure reading out of this thing. Something I've never seen. Okay, 3, fuel. It is pretty cool. These only go in one way. I'm not sure why that needle keeps moving when I don't feel like I'm touching it. Okay. Now this one, I see the way this is laid out here. And this must have been on top, and there must be washers in between and on top. Okay, I didn't really look at this one very closely. But let's go ahead and give it a try. Just like this, because I can't check my phone. And make a video at the same time. Okay. It's easy to have a brain fart when you start thinking about something else. You can even see on the back, it looks like there was washers. I believe there was. You know, if there was like some kind of corrosion on this thing, I definitely would clean it. Couple more washers. If I run out of washers before I'm done, then well, we're gonna have to go back and do something about that. Couple of bolts. If I do remember this, that one's on upside down. This little thing here is going to go right next to it. The little seatbelt gizmo. That right there. Washer. And this gets a couple of these. I remember taking, I took apart my 66 Chevelle Speedo cluster probably more than once. I've swapped some things in and out of there. These are the same exact little bolts. Got that. Okay, so this one, I mean, yeah, it's looking like a nut and a washer, but I'm gonna double check that. I only do have 3 nuts left, which I would say they go to this, but I'm only seeing 1 washer. I'll get this metric stuff out of the way. 1 could have fallen down. I am real good at losing things. It is entirely possible that this one didn't have washers and that the 1 washer in the nut goes right there. I'm gonna double check that. That's pretty cool that I've got a video to go back to. Let's look at what we've got so far. Not bad. Now here's the one for the 2-holer. You can even see the outline of it on there. I would say this certainly would suffice as a washer. You can see the outline of the tangs. There's 2 bolts. I am looking on the floor. You know, I don't see anything. I do have some tiny washers. But we're just gonna drop this one over here, maybe. There might be, yeah. I don't remember, and I don't really care, but I will double check the video. Because this one, surely it needs a washer. Someone could have had this part before. I don't know. And not last, but next, we'll do oil pressure. This one should be easy. Everything else has been fitting really well. But check it out. There's another discrepancy here. Which this brass and this thing, so this is a completely different sort of height. When I look at it, this block is much higher than this one by, like, you know, a couple millimeters. And so the way this all fits together in the end, you know, all the gauges are staggered. They kind of lean towards the driver. We'll put it together and we'll see what happens. So far, it's been pretty good. See how these, I don't remember, these were all like touching. This thing is fairly tight. We'll give it a roll here. All it had was this on the back. Let's see if this thing lines up. I mean, if this is my only difference in height, I've got to give it to these guys. So look at this angle is off. Either it's not, it might not be sitting down in the hole. There's definitely an indent box for this thing. It kind of has an orientation that doesn't look right. Oh, look, there we go. Okay, so I just, now it's, see how it's at an angle now. I got it to poke in there all the way. Get these finger tight. And then I'll take a peek at my video or a couple still shots and see if I screwed it up. And the clock will be last. We'll save the clock for a minute, but wow, it's looking pretty fresh. I like how it looks. What do you think? I think it checks out. Double checked my video. Thinking really hard about it. I'm ready. Let's put the clock in. And we'll be putting it back in the car here shortly. I did my best cleaning this clock. You know the phrase. He cleaned his clock. That's right, I did. Well, okay. Don't forget about this. That is an important part. We can put that on when we're about ready. Okay, good. Now, besides putting the clock upside down, which I didn't, it sure looks upside down when you turn it over and that's all you see, but you can only put the clock in one way. What do you think? We're getting there. I think we're about ready to put this back in the face. I don't think there's anything else except for this this clock thing, which that which I believe I could still put that on from the outside. So there's no way I can put that on and turn this upside down. But wait. Oh yes, there's one more that needs tightening. Get the 5/16 on this one. So check it out. This one, I'm gonna go, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put this spacer under this, because the back side clearance is not a problem. The front side is the clearance issue. So yeah, there's no way that's gonna be good. Everything else is tight except for this one. So, you know, all in all, I paid these gauges were on clearance from a place that I found on the internet, and I was like, I watched those things for like a month, and I took pictures, screenshots. I was looking at my gauges, and I was just like, there's no way these things are going to be any good at all. But you know what? I am really surprised. For less than $100, I got 4 gauges that were obviously not made in America. So let's see, when this sticks through, this just doesn't have the ability. And that's an isolator anyway, so that now we have a double isolator, which is fine. Anyways, like I was saying, these gauges, it was just a freak find basically, because they're just clearing them out. They're like, hey, we don't want to sell these anymore or whatever. We made them, or we commissioned to have them made, and we're getting rid of them. So there's very few good deals on Corvette parts out there, I can tell you that. The stuff, they want too much money just because I believe it's just the name. Hey, anybody who's got a Corvette must be rich. I mean, that's what I always used to think. That's really not the case. But boy, the prices, especially if you get on the used part market. Okay, look at that, nice and tight. Prices are just too high for most of this stuff. Now let's see if we can see. I cleaned the back of this. Yeah, I don't know which way this thing went. Let's just try to put it right there. It's not going to matter. The clock doesn't work anyway. Now where were we? We're going to make sure all the dust is out of there. If there's any dust left, whatever. Nobody's going to notice. All right, put this aside. Get this fine piece right back over here. Get this thing out. Get these things over to the side. Here we go. Now we should get a good fit. I was careful. I was proactive. I tried to pay attention to everything that could cause a problem. Get that clock knob in the hole. It's just gonna go right back the way that it wants to go. All right, you know what? It seems like it's sitting right. Let's flip it around, take a look. So that's what we're going to be stuck with. That's pretty good. You know, the scratches that are already in there can help make it look like it's old. I noticed the oil pressure has a bottom stop, so it stops at 0. Can't go any lower. Same with the negative and positive 40 on the battery. It has stops in between. I wish the fuel gauge had a stop. The other fuel gauge, like I said, it worked most of the time. But look at how nicely, like even this button, cleaned up really nice. I scrubbed on that with a scrubber sponge, not a scrubber, but the soft side of a sponge, some soap. Everything got a good bath except for down in here. I was like, whatever, maybe I can slip a Q-tip down there when I'm done. Okay, so while I got this turned over, let's go ahead and put this on. And judging by the markings, it's got this scrapey marks around this side, so I believe that would be okay. So it's not bolted on yet, so this gives me a chance to see if it will go in this way. It may not be designed. Yeah, that's tight. Okay, that's good. I like that. Now when I look in there, it looks good. I like how it looks. Now this was the little screw tip end for this, which now a screwdriver would fit. We'll go ahead and use the old Swiss Army knife. I've never ever taken one of these off before, but if you do, you would really need the eyeglass screwdriver. Now that knob spins regardless, so let's go ahead and try to move the clock. There we go. How about a good Iron Maiden song, 6 minutes to midnight? Close enough. Got some seconds on the clock. Oh, okay. All right, I went and lifted it for, okay, we'll turn this over. Final touches. We'll put this back in here and we will see what happens next. Now I took a long break in between. I did some cleaning, whatever, but I easily did this to this point in just a couple hours. It's a rainy day. The sun is now down. It's after 6 p.m. But it was a good little afternoon project. It's very cool to get those gauges out of the boxes and actually put them to use. Like I said, very stoked about the quality of the gauges versus the price that I actually paid for those things. That was an incredible deal. Okay, so I do see right here, that's the plastic tunnel for the light, for the idiot light, and then here's the other one right there. So I'm just doing a couple final checks. I did add a couple washers on that. Everything is nice and snug. There will be certainly less rattles because this was inside of one of the holes for the lights. And this Corvette is full of rattles, so one less rattle to listen to. This, I'm just going to go ahead and put it back into this one the way that I think it was. But if I can't get the battery gauge to read properly, I'll try switching it over. Like this whole capacitor thing, this could be bad as well, but it was folded over like this. You know, when you try to remove stuff and then put it back, you just want to kind of feel how the wire wants to go. But I did manipulate this thing in the past. But taking it out, I remember that it was up like this. So we'll hope that it goes there. If anybody knows where this one goes, by all means, please tell me. So, it's pretty exciting. Got all these last torque on there. Want to make sure they're snug, but not too snug. Don't let anything drop in your in all the holes for the lights. All right, I like it. And there it is. Can it? Yeah, it could sit on the back. It's not going to hurt it that much. She's almost ready. Wait a minute. She is ready. Let's go put it in. You're going to have to use your imagination for this part. Here's my center stack with my new gauges, and they're just going to go right up in here, and it's going to be beautiful. Beautiful. And they're all going to work perfect in a perfect world. But now we're going to take this right back out of here and we're going to set it aside because, well, I've got this all apart. It reminds me that this heat smells like ass. It's like a pure mouse nest in there from maybe 50 years ago. Either way, I'm going to go ahead and see about pulling out this heater box, and we're going to find out what's inside in the next video. Thank you for watching. No one ever watches this far. If you did, leave a comment, and thank you so much. Have a nice day.